Welcome to the Athletes Shine radio podcast. This is your host, Stefan Molashevsky, and I am joined by quarterback out of Carrol College, Mac Roche. How's it going, Mac?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Okay, so I'm going to start off this interview by just asking, when did you first fall in love with the game of football?
Ever since I was a little kid, just kind of started with me and my dad in our backyard, just throwing the football around, and ever since then, it's just kind of been, my passion.
Coming out of high school, did you get recruited a lot?
Going into my senior year, I went to some D1 camps, and I got MVP at the Washington State camp, and a few schools were talking to me, and then the first game of my senior year, I broke my foot, and so I didn't play the rest of the season, and after that, everyone else kind of stopped recruiting me, except for Carrol College.
And ultimately, why did you choose Carrol College?
One, I love the tradition at Carroll. They have 6 national championships starting from 2002, and it felt good to be wanted. They were a team that really wanted me to come play for them, and it was the best decision I ever made because I would never choose any place other than Carroll. I'm very lucky to be able to go there.
In your first 3 years, in your first year you were redshirted, but after that, the first 2 years, you received limited action. Was it hard at some times not playing at all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's any time that you're a backup and you don't get to play at all, it's very difficult because you want to get out there and just that competitive edge. You want to help your team win, but there's a great quarterback ahead of me, and I learned a lot from him. And I think those years really helped with my maturity as a quarterback. And so when I did get my shot, I was ready.
And would you say you were better from high school to college?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just once you go to college, it's a complete different game than high school, and so it took a couple years for me to understand the mental aspect of it.
Yeah, and in 2014, you finally started your first game. When you started your first game, did you feel prepared? Did you feel like, oh, I got this, and were you comfortable?
Yeah, I was absolutely comfortable. I was pretty nervous going into it, but I had a great group of guys around me, and I came out pretty confident because I knew that those guys had helped me out with everything, and we didn't win the game, but offensively we put up some good numbers, and that was we're 0-1, but then after that I think we won 10 games in a row.
Yeah, you were mentioning 10-2. You threw for 2,942 yards, 28 touchdowns, second team all conference. Did you achieve the goals that you set out for yourself that year?
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the year I didn't really know what to expect as far as numbers or any of that, and so my ultimate goal was just to win. And during the process, I had some really good receivers to throw to, and they made it. I could throw the ball up and they would go get it. And so I did a little more than I expected that year, and I was pretty pleased, and I made quite a few memories.
And in 2015, this year, of course, you guys kind of slipped, and you were 4-6. What would you attest that to? What happened this year?
There's a lot of things that go into the game of football. You can never blame it on injuries, but losing our top 3 receivers by week 3, that was pretty tough for our offense to overcome. And there's just so many little things in games that if the play goes a different way, then we probably get the win. And there's a fine line between winning and losing in football. And like I said, injuries absolutely hurt us, but that wasn't you can't blame injuries for losses.
And looking back on your whole career at Carrol College, what would you say was the most exciting moment of your football career?
Most exciting moment. That's tough because so many good times. But I think the most exciting play or game that I played in was against Carrol College at home this year for homecoming. I think I threw like a 50-yard touchdown to win it on with like 6 seconds left, and so that was, the stadium went nuts, and so that was about the most fun I've ever had on a football field.
And what would you say your plans are after college?
I got an education degree for health and physical education and special ed, and so I'm going to try to keep playing football as long as I can. I'm going to a senior game, and I guess I'll see from there. I'd love to keep playing, but if not, I'm going to be a coach and a teacher someday too.
And that game you're talking about is the Dream Bowl. How excited were you when you first found out that you will be going there?
Oh, I was ecstatic. I've seen Senior Bowls on TV, all growing up, and I've always thought that they're really cool, a good way for guys to get their names out there. And so when the Dream Bowl contacted me, I was just ecstatic. I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
What do you really want to show the scouts in practice and in the game?
I think I have pretty good footwork that the scouts, will like to see, but also just knowing my mental capacity for football. I think that I know the game very well, and I recognize coverages really well, and I think that that's one thing that they're going to like out of me.
And what would you say your strengths and weaknesses are?
I consider myself a pretty accurate passer. Some of my weaknesses, I'd say I'm, not the biggest guy, and I'm not the fastest guy. But, at quarterback, some guys make that work without those intangibles, kind of like Tom Brady and Drew Brees.
And going back to that Dream Bowl question here, and the last question I really have for you is, why should a pro team, take a chance on you?
I think they should take a chance on me because, one, I'm a competitor, and, I want to win, and I want to go out and play as hard as I can every time, and I think that, with my arm strength and the way I play a football game, I can play at the next level.
Man, Mac, I want to thank you again for joining me on this interview, and just good luck to you in the Dream Bowl, and good luck to whatever you do after.
Thank you. I appreciate it.